Hey friend, Steve here. These 8 wealth scams should be avoided at all costs. Now, I've fallen for some of these myself. I've seen clients, friends, and even successful professionals lose their savings and sometimes their reputation because they trusted the wrong advice. So before you fall for the same traps, here are 8 wealth scams that are draining wallets every single day. First, scam number 1, jobs that promise easy money. I remember when I first got into the insurance business, the company I worked at pitched insurance sales as the dream job. In the first year, Steve, if you earn just the industry average, you'll make $60,000. I'm like, okay. I was 22 years old, by the way, so I'm like, that's the world to me. Beginning the second year, you'll have what are called renewals. So if you do nothing, your renewal income will be about $6,000 per year. I'm like, okay, that's great. So if in the second year, you sell the same $60,000, which I was told, hey, by the way, most people do more once they gain some experience, but let's say you just do 60 grand again, that means your total income would be $66,000. Imagine yourself being a 22-year-old kid hearing this and it's presented as something easy. What will your reaction be in a case like this? Yeah, where do I sign? And that's exactly what I did. Come to find out, it wasn't that easy at all. So the company I worked at first recommended that I buy a computer and some other necessary supplies. I did, then the leads. So they gave new agents old, recycled leads that had been called about 100 times, probably by 100 other new agents over the years, and these people were not interested. I remember I got hung up on, yelled at, screamed and cursed out over the phone just because I was calling from this specific insurance company. So not only was I not making any money, but it was also just demoralizing. And I was discouraged because I'm getting beat up on the phone all day. But with all of that said, here was the worst part about it. When I would bring my friends and family members to meet with my manager at the company, I thought that the products being recommended to my family members and friends were in their best interest. Come to find out, they weren't. The products were set up for high commission and not in the best interest of the client. The thing was, I just didn't know. Here's what I would do to avoid this trap. Ask to talk to people who work at the company. Talk to people who are at the top, in the middle, and also at the bottom. Even people who have failed if possible. And ask questions that might feel uncomfortable. For example, what percentage of new recruits last beyond 12 months? I want to know how many people fail within the first year specifically. So important to do this. And going through these questions can prevent you from feeling like you've been scammed. Scam number 2, hype-driven crypto investments. I know people who have made a ton of money with crypto, but I also know people who have lost a lot of money with crypto. The worst part is that I've seen too many people fall victim to these scams and Ponzi schemes where they just lose a ton of money as a result. Now, this usually happens, the scams and Ponzi schemes in most cases, is because someone makes an emotional decision without doing their own research and due diligence. Here's the thing. Imagine I said to you, there's a lot of excitement about this new penny stock. There are big things going on inside of this company, and it looks like explosive growth. You say in response, sounds great. Can you show me some proof? Can you show me some data about the company? And I say, I can't show you any of this. I just heard that things were really, really exciting from someone else who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone who works there. It's like, okay. All of this hype is driven because I spoke in a very enthusiastic manner and said, you gotta get in early. I had nothing to back up those claims I was making. The same thing can happen with crypto. If you're going to invest in crypto, do your very, very best to keep your emotions out of it. Scam number 3, most high-ticket coaches. I remember a business coach who was charging $40,000 for a weekend at his office where he would help you and other business owners grow their company. I actually paid that amount. I bought the package. And then at the end of the weekend, the business coach came into the room and offered a $100,000 package that involved his company coaching you over the course of the next 12 months. So you get hands-on training or hands-on coaching every week for a full year. I bought that package as well. So over the course of the year, the business owner who sold that package wasn't involved at all. I spoke to a lot of people I did not even see at the event. And when I asked very specific questions about my business, sales team, marketing, things that I was really interested in learning to see how I could grow the company faster, I felt like I would get generic answers. So I didn't see that business owner who sold that package the entire time. And then at the conclusion of that coaching period, then the business owner shows up again on a Zoom call. And then they try to sell even a bigger package that this time would involve taking some of my revenue every year. So the problem, in my opinion, with some coaches is that they charge excessively high fees, but the advice is not exclusive. I know if someone pays me for training or consulting, I am obsessive about answering all of their questions, letting them know what I would do if I'm in their situation. I would record our calls. I would provide a document with everything we had discussed and also follow-up notes. I really want to make sure that I do my best to over-deliver because they're giving me their money in order for me to help them. And I don't want them to be unhappy with me or feel like I did anything to scam them or take advantage of them. Scam number 4, secret tax strategies. I hear about these secret trusts and strategies that are usually explained like this. Set up this trust because it's been used by families like the Rockefellers and other billionaire families, and it is how they secure wealth and keep it within the family. I remember speaking to a client about this who has a net worth in excess of $25 million. He was pitched on this trust and said, "Can you and your team look into this? Some of these things just don't sound right to me." So I ran it by my tax attorney. And what my attorney said was, "We've seen these a lot. There are too many red flags with this type of trust and others like it that in many cases, the IRS considers them to be tax avoidance, which can lead to IRS audits." Now, that's not always going to happen, and none of this is tax advice. I'm not a tax attorney, but the attorneys that I work with are some of the best in the world. And I know this because they have billionaire clients. They're not using these trusts and recommending this type of setup for a reason. They said that the problem with a lot of these trusts is that to put it in place, you might have to spend a lot of money. Sometimes it's $20,000, $30,000, or even $50,000 just to set it up initially. And you might save taxes initially, but after time passes, if the IRS looks into it and says, "Hey, this is not compliant," they'll go back for all of the years that you had that trust in place and you were saving money on taxes and say, you have to pay the back taxes plus penalties and fees. And to do that, you probably need to hire a very good CPA or tax attorney. So it's a ton of work, ton of money, and causes a lot of stress. I'm not saying that these trusts are just automatically bad, but here's what I would do. If you get advice about something that you have no experience with, get a second opinion. That's step 1. And you can start just by asking someone who has done well financially. They might have been pitched on this type of trust or something similar in the past, or they might know someone else who has. And here's the big thing. If the advisor who is recommending this plan to you gets defensive, emotional, or changes their tune when you're asking them, "Hey, is this really a good idea? Could I get audited?" If you sense anything off, they might not be the best partner. Scam number 5, hidden fees and fine print. Hidden fees, I know, can cause a ton of stress and cost a lot of money. I'll give you an example. Not too long ago, Tara and I booked a trip for a long weekend and we made a large deposit. A few days before the trip, my mom got sick. She ended up going into the hospital. She had a lot going on and I had to be there to help her talk to the doctors just to make sure that everything was going smoothly and everything that she agreed to was being honored. It was very important that we were there. So as a result, we had to cancel the trip. So Tara calls the hotel, explains everything that's going on, and says that we'd still like to come, but we just can't come right now. Is it possible to either refund the deposit or just hold on to it and will come in the future at some point. We just don't know right now. They said no, and the reason why was because it was against their policy. Now, when I heard this, I was upset. I'm like, really? I know running a business, I value my reputation a lot, and if a client goes through something personal and they're going to be out of money as a result, if there's anything I can do to fix that, I am going to do that. I don't want their bad experience to get worse because I'm telling them, no, I don't want to give you any type of refund because it's against my policy. It's like, no, that isn't right in my opinion. However, regardless of what my opinion was, if you look at the fine print, guess what? Deposits are non-refundable. So that was really on me. I didn't look through that fine print. Now, fortunately, with this situation, we were able to get in touch with a manager who refunded that deposit after they heard what was going on. They're like, okay, you got family in the hospital? Yeah, no problem. We'll refund you that right away. I'm like, thank you. We are planning on coming in the future too. So here's what I would do if you're ever reviewing an agreement or spending a lot of money on something. Read the contract. If it's long and you say, I don't have time for this, and I can't understand all of this legal jargon either, plug the agreement in ChatGPT and ask for a summary. And you could also ask ChatGPT just to show you some hidden fees. Now, it might not catch everything, but it is going to save you a ton of time. And if you find fees that you're not comfortable with, ask about them. That's all. And if you're still not comfortable after hearing the explanation and living with those fees, well, don't work with the company. It's still your choice at the end of the day. Scam number 6, Ponzi schemes in disguise. I remember several years ago, I partnered with someone who had a successful business. Now, I know the owner. He is a good guy who does really care about his clients. He had a situation where he was selling high cash value life insurance policies to his clients, and then he was recommending to his clients to take loans from his policies and invest in this real estate company. So in concept, that can work very well because the money you borrow against a cash value life insurance policy continues to earn dividends and interest. So he was leveraging the product and trying to help clients earn higher returns. The problem was that the investment he was recommending they put their money into ended up to be a scam. People who invested their money here lost everything. The owner even lost money because he was doing it as well. So losing money was one thing, but what about his reputation and all those clients that trusted him? The insurance company even said to him, hey, we're no longer doing business with you. He has to work on rebuilding his reputation with the insurance carrier as well. Now again, I know him, and he did not do this deliberately. He wouldn't do this to his clients. He just fell victim to a scam that on the surface looked like a 100% legitimate business. So not only did his clients lose money, but because they took large loans against their policies, put it over into what they thought was an attractive investment that would produce returns and help them pay those loans back, now those returns aren't being produced. So now the clients need to come up with additional out-of-pocket to help pay back those loans. The thing is, a lot of scams, like the one I just mentioned, often exploit the appeal of exclusive access and ultra-high returns. But it's all fake. Everything eventually falls apart. Here's what I would do to avoid this. Do research thoroughly. If you don't have time to do research, have someone help. You could use AI tools to help summarize the main points. Just like we talked about with the fine print, you can use ChatGPT. If you get a 100-page document, ask for it to summarize the main points. You could even ask, does this one seem too good to be true? I wouldn't fully trust what the AI says, but at the same time, I would use it to help accelerate my learning curve. So if anything seems too good to be true, ask about it. That's all. It's okay to ask questions. Remember, it's your money. Scam number 7, your 401k, sometimes. Now, just to be clear on one point, I don't think that a 401k and retirement accounts are a scam. However, I do think that there's a problem with the lack of education. I remember speaking with a client who was in her late 60s, and she had about $3 million sitting in retirement accounts. Now, this money has grown tax deferred over the years, which means she has not paid any taxes on it. The problem is that she has the majority of her retirement in these tax deferred retirement accounts. What she said was that she was told to put money here. Put money in your 401k, it'll reduce your taxable income now, and when you eventually need the money later, you'll be in a lower tax bracket, so you'll be able to pull it out no problem. That's what she was told. That's what most people are told. Turns out that is not the reality of things in her particular case. So here's what I would do. If you have a 401k or other tax-deferred retirement accounts, don't abandon ship. I would still keep saving money there because there are benefits. I just would not put all of my eggs in one basket. I'd break it into 3 buckets. So bucket 1, we've got tax-deferred accounts. So this is like a 401k, tax deferred. Then we've got taxable accounts, and then we also have tax-free accounts. So if we look at these 3 buckets, what happens to a lot of people is they have the majority of their assets, specifically for retirement, in the tax-deferred bucket. So an example, again, would be a 401k, IRA, and other similar accounts. Taxable accounts could be money in the bank, call that a money market, CD. Could also be stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. And then we also have tax-free accounts. Most people are familiar with Roth accounts. You've got municipal bonds, let's just call that muni bonds. And then you also have cash value life insurance, which there's whole life and also different types of universal life, cash value life insurance. You've got whole life and also indexed universal life. I will always recommend whole life just because I've seen more proof of performance. So we've got our 3 different buckets here as far as where we can put money. Again, the problem that I see a lot of people run into is they're heavily weighted here, or I might see 80% of their retirement all in tax-deferred buckets, which means when they eventually pull that money out, they're going to have to pay income tax on everything. So I wouldn't recommend putting all of your eggs in one basket. What I would rather do is break it up. Tax-deferred is fantastic because it's a great way to accumulate money quickly. I can typically get a tax deduction upfront with a 401k, for example. I might also get a match. I'm not paying taxes on it while it grows, so it's very attractive in that aspect. With a taxable account, these are great if I just want money in a safe account, like a money market or CD. We see this a lot. But if I want to try to hit a home run with some stocks, bonds, and mutual funds over here, or have a diversified portfolio, it's beneficial in that respect. And then when I look at tax-free assets, everybody likes tax-free. We see a lot of people put money into Roth accounts, typically as much as they can. And then cash value life insurance works. The growth rate is typically going to be between 4 to 5% annually if we set it up correctly. I can also access that money anytime I want. I don't have to wait to use it for retirement or anything like that. So we will look at all 3. We'll try to get the full picture for someone and then help individuals make the right decision. Okay, scam number 8, poorly structured cash value life insurance. I remember when I was new in the insurance business, a doctor walked into the office where I worked and he met with the owner of that office and also a manager. Now he had read the book, Becoming Your Own Banker, and he was interested in a whole life insurance policy primarily for the cash value. I remember hearing the story where he walked into the conference room, throws the book on the table and says, I want to put $100,000 per year into this life insurance product. Now, he was doing this for the cash value. That's what he was interested in. However, he was sold a policy where he put $100,000 in, but his first year cash value was almost 0. After 10 years, he would have paid $1 million and his cash value was not even worth $1 million. It was about $900,000. The problem is that this happens to so many people. They're often attracted to whole life insurance for the cash value because they hear about how they could use it as their own bank. They hear about how wealthy families and corporations use it, so it draws a lot of interest, and there is some truth to the fact that wealthy families and corporations use the product, but those statements can also be misleading. I've seen people use the fact that institutions, meaning big corporations, put tons of money into cash value life insurance, therefore it makes sense, and therefore you should do it too. Then you, the one buying the product, is sold something completely different than what the corporation owns with respect to their cash value life insurance policy. The policy that the corporation has is set up for high cash value. The policy that you have is set up for low cash value, and high commissions. Here's an example of what I see happen all the time. Let's pretend that this is you and you say, hey, I'm interested in a whole life insurance policy. And let's pretend that you're that doctor we talked about earlier. So you're gonna put in $100,000 per year. And if that seems like a big number, you could take a zero off, you could add a zero. It's all the same thing as long as the policy is designed the same. So you're looking to put 100 grand per year into whole life insurance. And the goal is cash value. All right, so watch this. So we're gonna have three options here. We've got option A, B, and C. And what I'll say about each of these options is you're going to put the same 100K per year in, and it'll be the same insurance product with the same insurance company, just set up differently. So option A, your first year cash value will be zero, just like that doctor we spoke about. Option B, your cash value might be $65,000, a whole lot better than option A. But then option C, and again, this is the same product with the same company, your cash value might be $90,000. And this is in the first year alone. So why the difference here? Well, let's talk about me and what I would make as the agent. So let's assume we set you up with a policy with one of the companies I'd recommend, one of your 4 major mutual companies. With option A, my commission would be about $85,000. That's in the first year alone, before any renewals are paid. Option B, what do you think my commission would be? You have more cash value than option A, so I get less commission. It'd be about $33,000 in the first year. What about option C? Well, what that would come out to, and this is based on my actual rates, be about $11,000 in the first year. Same company, same product, same out of pocket to you, but different cash value to you with the different options. And you can see the incentive to me. To take it a step further, here's where it gets ugly in my opinion. If we look at a small life insurance company, not one of the 4 major mutuals, if you go with option A, my commission could be as high as $130,000 in the first year. With option B, it could be about $47,000, and then with option C, it come out to about $18,000. And again, these are with smaller life insurance companies that we don't use that much, not because they pay higher commissions, but because I have not seen much proof of performance when I track the actual results of whole life insurance policies. With that said, what I see happen all the time is folks recommend small to medium sized life insurance companies because they support a high cash value design. You don't want to work with one of the major mutual companies. I'm like, no, that's not true. The major mutuals have a track record of delivering the highest cash value to consumers. Someone else, or you, other agent, are just recommending these small companies because they pay huge commissions and you want to make more. At least that's what I feel like a lot of times when I see things going on. Here's the thing though, if you're interested in a whole life insurance policy for the cash value, I would get transparency on the commissions, break-even points. And I would ask why some life insurance companies show illustrations that look a lot better than other companies. If you want to play it safe and use a model with whole life insurance that is proven, I would recommend one of the 4 major mutual companies and a product that is set up that looks like option C, which means your first year cash value is about 90 grand. It might be somewhere between 80,000 and 90,000, or think of it 80 to 90% of whatever your first year deposit is. Those 4 major mutual companies are Mass Mutual, Guardian, New York Life, and Northwestern Mutual. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, here's another one I think you might like too.